You're watching EVH Gear TV, brought to you by The Music Zoo. Shop The Music Zoo, your authorized EVH Gear dealer for all your EVH gear needs. Great selection, quality service, and competitive pricing. The Music Zoo is your one-stop shop for all things EVH. Official Van Halen merchandise for EVH Gear TV is provided by VanHalenStore.com. Now, here's your host from Ontario, Canada, EVH Gear artist Eric Broadbent.
Hey, happy Monday and welcome to EVH Gear TV. I'm joined by Jarrod Frost. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good. How are you?
Good, man. Good. And we got some gear we're going to be looking at tonight. I'm really excited about it.
Yes, sir.
I've seen in the past few videos you've been sharing videos and photos and kind of a combination of both. You've been kind of organizing that like the world's nicest Tetris puzzle. It looks pretty good back there.
Yep, I have pretty much everything set up, ready to go. You can see my pedal board down there, and I have my 5153 Stealth Head, which is running my red, white, and black stripe cab, and my 5150 PV slant cab, and then my lunchbox head is completely dry on the blue channel in the center.
Fantastic. You're going to give us a little bit of an audio sample tonight as well, too?
I will. Yes,
great.
Absolutely.
That's good. It looks good. Now, the striped one that you've got there, I know you got that one just recently. Is that a PV or is that an EVH?
It is a PV.
Okay.
I got it on Guitar Center. It was like $300.
Stupid good
straight
deal.
To my door. Yeah. And it doesn't have the factory the speakers that came in the old
Sheffields?
5150. Yeah. It doesn't have those in there. It has a couple of different ones put in there, but it sounds great.
Cool.
No issues whatsoever with it.
Yeah, you and I were talking about that on Facebook the one day. I think the day you were getting it, or you're getting it the next day, whatever. And when you told me the price of that thing shipped to your door, I said, like, the shipping alone would be close to that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's heavy. That's about 90 pounds or more, somewhere around there.
Yep, it came in a big old box, too.
Oh, yeah, I bet. And whoever painted it did a pretty good job striping it.
Yeah, it has nicks and chips on it and stuff like that.
Well, that's all good.
Visibly, it looks awesome.
No, they had a bunch. Didn't they have like a half a dozen of them? I
think so. I wanted to buy one then, but I kind of talked myself out of it. But then when I saw that on Guitar Center, I just PayPal'd it. I was done.
No problem.
That's what I wanted.
One of my buddies, Sean, too, he bought one as well, too. I think he got one from the same Guitar Center.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Awesome. I'm going to just jump over to the chat real quick and say hi to the folks over there. Got Adam, one of our regulars here as well, too. He says, hey, Eric and Jarrod and Poison and everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. Let's check this bad boy rig out. Poison Ivy's obviously joining us. Nice Monday surprise, Adam says. Yeah, I figured, you know what? Let's talk some cool guitar. I've been watching Jarrod posting a lot of really cool stuff lately, and I thought, let's get him on here and do some talking. And we can also talk a little about what the internet's talking about today, too, with Eddie Van Halen warming up his rig. At 5150. Rick Kreifeld from Idea Bench is joining us. Says, hi, Eric and Jarrod. Craig Guitar Wannabe says, hello, everyone. Jason Harveyfield, Mark Taylor. Cloreen Baconskin's back. Mr. BH, that's Bruce, says, hello, EVH Gear TV and everyone. Carlo Santin, hey, guys. Wasn't expecting to be here on a Monday night, but I'm down. Carlo Santin was the winner of the other night of the Van Halen Rising book signed.
Oh, yeah.
So that's cool. Yeah. And I didn't realize he's from Canada like myself, so that's very, very cool. Jay Humphreys, hello everyone. Bruce saying hello to you, Jarrod. MB215, what's up everyone? And Access Mario is saying hey all. Very, very nice. So you've bought a lot of guitars actually in the last little bit too. Before we dive into the rig, tell us a little bit about the last couple of guitars, the Striped Wolfgang and maybe the other PV one you got.
Mm-hmm. I have 16 guitars. A couple of them are just they're just real cheapy hand-me-downs. I have an Epiphone Les Paul that I don't really play much, and a Yamaha like practice guitar that I've had for a long time that I bought at like an auction for like $100. But I have 5 Wolfgangs and a Van Halen 1 striped Strat guitar, which was an eBay parts guitar. When I got it and put it all together, and I have FU Tone, the German Floyd that actually came on it, which that was the big score I got with that guitar. And it wasn't until watching your show that I realized how important it is to have a German Floyd on
Yeah.
on a guitar.
You buy the German Floyd, you get a free guitar, basically.
Yeah, and it was like $400 for all the parts, and I just painted it. But I bet if you tone the Floyd and put a brass block in it and stainless steel screws and all that stuff, and it plays so nice for, just a couple $100. But the main one, which you've seen obviously, is this one, my Wolfgang Standard.
Is that still one of your mains?
It is one of my mains.
Yep.
It has the kill switch, which you can see it lit up right now,
That's
and
good.
The brass block and all that stuff in there. And that's the only Wolfgang I have that actually has a brass block in it. This one I recently got. It's one of my favorites for sure.
I love that.
PV Wolfgang Special USA. The flame on it is just gorgeous.
Yeah, you can tell even with the lighting like this, because like just indoor lighting, usually some of the PVs you have to almost be outside to see and appreciate the flame, but that's beautiful.
Yeah, and Dave Nesdall's actually played this because I got it on Music Zoo.
Okay.
And he was actually on his way to buy this guitar, and I messaged him on Facebook and told him I already bought it, and he was upset.
Yeah. Oh well, you snooze, you lose.
Yeah, I know. And then I've got my 3-tone Cherry Burst Wolfgang Special.
I like that.
I love the binding on this. It's just really nice.
It's like a natural binding, right?
Yeah, it's a natural binding. This one has a strange neck on it compared to some of my others. That the finish on this neck is completely dull. Like there's no shine to it at all, and it seems like some of the standards have a little bit of a gloss to it. But I love the neck on this guitar, and it doesn't have a brass block in it, but it has all the FE tone screws and stuff.
Gotcha.
And then you've seen this one.
That's a lovely one.
Yep. And this is a great guitar, and I have rewired the
Toggle?
pickups selector because I don't know why they're doing this now on the specials, but it's backwards.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but I fixed that.
Yeah, you get used to playing the Wolfgangs the Eddie way.
Right.
Yeah.
And this one I've had the longest. This is my Mexico Stealth, but it's one of the early ones. This is the oldest one that I have, and it actually has stainless frets on it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it's makes a huge difference.
Now your striped one you have right now is pretty much your number one, is it not?
Oof, I know I'm gonna go back to my standard.
Are you?
It's that guitar. I don't know what it is. I guess because since it has the kill switch and everything, it's just the most fun to play.
Yeah. I agree with you on that one. You know what's funny with me is you've known this for the longest time too, because I have the purple one, and the purple one was my favorite guitar. I said it on a million videos that I've done. It's my number one guitar, and I kind of put it aside for a little bit, almost like I abandoned it for a short little while. A couple other ones I did a futon job on the EVH Stripe series, and that one just went over the top in playability. It was beautiful, so that kind of became number one. I was playing my USA PV kind of like yours, only without the mine's got the hardtail. And what else was I playing? Actually, I've been doing a lot of PV playing, actually. The Black Wolfgang, I hopped that one up as well, too. Put the PV block in it from Adam, the big block. And so I kind of let it go and neglected the purple guitar for a bit. Picked it up last night again tonight. And I've got the Floyd on that thing so spongy. Even little Eric was playing. He's like, oh, my God. Like, I got the two black noiseless springs in the back. And I think I'm like, you tune down a half step, too, don't you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm down a half step.
I do, yeah.
Yep. And it's slinky. You can take one finger and basically dive bomb with it. And I still got the trem stopper in the back to keep it flush. So I was like, okay, and now I know the reason why I call this my main guitar. And so I'm going to throw some new strings on it and just go back to loving it again like I had been for the past few months, year. Yeah,
I play on the Ernie Ball Super Slinky, the 10s.
Okay.
I like a little bit thicker string. I feel like a thin string, I just feel like I'm gonna break them. And my Floyd, I like it very, very stiff.
Yeah, do you really?
I want when I let go of the whammy bar, I want to feel it hit the body.
It almost snap back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I've always been that way. And my Van Halen 1 Strat, has the trim stopper in it.
Yep.
And this is the same way. I want to feel it hit that trim stopper. That way I know it's.
Yeah, I was gonna say you must have 3 springs in there. If you like it tension like that, you probably had 3 springs. So that explains that for sure.
Yeah, all of my Wolfgangs and all of my Floyds have 3 springs in them.
Well, that's good. That's good to know. I tend to I really like the black noiseless springs. I've had some of the red ones that Adam sent me, and they're just, you probably would actually like those. You could almost get down to 2 springs, but use the red noiseless ones, and you'd probably be good, because those ones are very, very high tension.
Yeah. I need to buy some more of those. Buy some more springs. I'm kind of out of them.
Yeah, they're nice. They're nice additions for sure. Just gonna catch up with the chat over here for a sec too. We'll fire up your rig in a second. Howie Zowie said he was having trouble connecting. Seems to be up now. Oh yeah, this is pretty cool too. Iron Z18 says, "Hey guys, can't wait to see what you think of the new Ed Instagram video. Spotted the set list on there. I know some really good CSI eyes caught that, and people were posting some blow-ups of it. I don't think you'd be able to read it unless you take it to NASA, whatever, and have them, kind of clean up the picture. But we're going to talk about that for sure, and I've got the video queued up here. We'll play that as well too." And Jay Humphrey says, "Was that the Kansas City Guitar Center that has the striped cabs? Is that true?"
Gosh, I can't remember where it was. It might have been. It might have been. It wasn't in Texas, and I'm in Texas.
Yeah,
I know that for sure.
I don't know either, but somebody might chime in and they may know. Will Dunham's joining in, says, "Hi Jamie, hi Adam. Carlo Santin, you have me gassing now, Jarrod. Maybe I shouldn't have tuned in." Yeah, we need to put a disclaimer on this show every time, because it does create serious gear acquisition syndrome, that's for sure. For both the host and the guests and the people watching, for sure.
Like hashtag in debt.
That's right, exactly. That's right. Yeah, it's like working at a music store. I remember those years gone by. Have you ever worked in a music store? No? Well, it's a fun thing and it's not a fun thing. The fun thing is you get to see guitars before the general public does. And I remember sometimes my boss was even saying to me, because I worked in 2 music stores, can you try to let some of the guitars get to the shelf, like maybe our customers can have a pick, whatever. But I'd go out on taking out a PA system or something like that. I'd come back in, and one time I saw a Music Man hardshell case sitting on the counter. It just came in on a trade. I didn't even know what was in it. I said, "That's mine." And I opened it up, and it was Ernie Ball Silhouette Special. Beautiful, nice. Beautiful guitar. And I took it. I said, "Just take it off my paycheck." I'd be coming home with about $25 come payday, right? I'd be enough money to get a box of cereal and some craft dinner, and the rest was gone back to the music store to pay off my stuff I was taking. But that's one of the advantages and disadvantages of being in the store. Dirty Ape says, "Cool." Jamie Humphries is nice. Let me see here. If I miss anyone else here. All right, so Craig Wannabe says he wants you to crank it up. We're going to do that in a second as well. Cat Dumpling, hey everyone. And Thomas Santiago says, "Hello everyone in the chat." And Cat Dumpling says, "I used a Dario Balance Tension 10s. I kind of want to try a set of 9.5. So, and it's funny, when you talk about 10s, I played 10s before. I just really like 9s. And I think with my American PV, the hardtail, I think I'm going to throw 10s on that one for a recording guitar. And that's one a guitar I have that I keep tuned up to pitch, to standard pitch. So I think some 10s on that would sound really, really nice for recording.
Yeah, my Ibanez Premium that I have is the only thing that I have in standard tuning.
Okay.
Just for because it's a 24 fret guitar, and I just it just sounds better for the music I play on it. With standard tuning.
It's always nice to have that guitar available so you can actually play to a record, whatever. Because the way we set up our guitars with our Floyds and stuff like that too. If we're tuned down a half step, then you got to recalibrate your springs and all that kind of stuff. It's just a pain. So that's why it is nice to have a guitar or two that's to pitch. Now that'd be a floating trem in that Ibanez too, right?
It is, but I have it set up perfectly, and it never goes out of tune.
That's good. The only problem is if you bust a string, right?
Right. If you break a string, that guitar sucks to restring. It literally takes like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But it has a tension spring in the back that you can adjust to where, like, if your hand is resting on the Floyd, it's not enough pressure to make it go out of tune. It's kind of weird how it's called like the Edge, the Ibanez Edge. Edge 2 or Edge 3 or something like that. It's different.
I do like their tremolos. They're very good tremolos on those guitars.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's actually some improvements on Floyd's overall. in some cases. I think the metal's a little softer than that, but they are very nice tremolos. I always like them on my Ibanez guitars, for sure. Well, why don't you go over it? I'm not sure what you have to do to fire up there, but give us a little bit of a sound sample. Tell us what you're going to do.
Well, it's on right now. I really don't have to do anything.
Okay, grab your favorite guitar.
Basically, my standard is plugged in, ready to go. I have in my pedal board here. I have my Digitech RP 500 is set up to run the harmonizer for the balance aerotone.
Okay.
And I have a 480 millisecond one repeat delay on there because I think it's pretty close to what Eddie used at that time. His delay that he had on the balance tour, I'm still not sure, but from everything I've heard online, it sounds pretty close. And it has a little bit of reverb, not a whole lot. And that's the default channel when I first turn it on. And then up one channel is my Van Halen 1 sound preset with lots of reverb and delay. And then I have another channel that's straight up for metal. EVH flanger, EVH phase 90, Digitech Boss Digitech digital delay, which is set up only for Cathedral.
Nice.
That's the only reason I use that pedal is because I have it set exactly for Cathedral. And then I have a snark tuner, a bona fide buffer, because I have a 20-foot cable plugged in, and I have a silencer, but I don't use it much because my running through the effects loop, it already has a noise gate silencer already put in it.
Nice.
And then my two heads to run the 3 cabs are run through my Big Shot Radial ABY switch box.
Okay.
Which doesn't require a power supply. It's just by itself, and it has a phase switch on it, so the speakers can be exactly in sync with each other.
Nice.
And run in stereo in my apartment, and it sounds pretty killer.
Did the neighbors ever comment on the sound?
Well, it's actually not that loud. I don't blast it. I have my stealth head at like 1.
Yeah.
And it's not that loud. And I don't have anybody that really lives next to me, which is good. And my upstairs neighbor, I really don't care.
Yeah, there you go.
Because I got to hear his footsteps all the time. So,
yeah. The one thing that's good, though, about those EVH amps, for a lot of people that may not know, compared to, let's say, like a Marshall JCM 800, 900, you can't play a Marshall JCM 800 on 1 and have good tone, or 900 or anything like that. But these amps, pretty much everything from the EVH line, they can be stupid, insane, rip your head off loud, but they can play bedroom level and sound good.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's exactly right. And you can see I have the Boss Katana.
Yes, I love that video you did with that.
And it actually does not have as much distortion. I mean, gain turned up all the way on the brown channel. It still does not have as much gain as the Lunchbox head.
I know.
But it sounds great. The reverb and the delay and the effects built into it that it already has, and the speaker that's in the head itself, so you can run like 0.5 watts or whatever. That's just super cool because you can like carry it around with you.
You could be at a gig and then you go back to leave your stuff if you're a band playing a couple nights at a bar somewhere, take the head back to the hotel, and whatever, you've got a little amplifier right there.
Yeah.
And all your effects.
It's super cool. I like playing on it.
That's awesome. Yeah, we have the Katana here just in the 50-watt combo. That's little Eric's. And there's many a time he'll ask me to come up in his room, watch him play a video game or something. And I'm like, hey, can I plug into your Katana? Can I plug into your Katana? It's pretty awesome. And you just kind of go into shred mode because you got everything right there. And you totally go overboard because you've got every pedal under the sun. And when you have everything, you want to use them all at the same time.
Yep.
That's cool. Well, let's hear a little bit of tones there.
All right, let's do it.
All right,
I got to take these headphones.
Yeah, that's cool. No problem at all.
First is the I'm just going to run the Lunchbox head, which I have the volume on the stealth head, which is muted right now.
Okay.
So you can just hear how dry the Lunchbox head is. Does that sound good?
Yeah, it does.
And this is when I turn the volume up for the stealth head.
I love it. That sounds great.
My balance tone.
That's good. No, you got it. I'm not sure, you probably can't hear me at this moment, but that sounds great.
And let's see, this is my Van Halen 1 setting.
Sounded fantastic, buddy. I know you still can't hear me yet, but that's really good. That's really good.
Yeah. That sound all right?
That sounds great, and people in the chat are liking it as well too. You know, it's really funny. I'm not sure how many people saw the show I did the other night with Greg Renoff, but we really talked about a vital tone of Eddie's at one point. You're talking about your Van Halen 1 tone, and Eddie professes that the tone on the first album is the easiest one to nail, and I think it's one of the hard. A lot of us think it's one of the hardest. And the funny thing about that, we got talking about when he was talking to Ted Telpman, and obviously found out the facts, the processing that Don Landy did, special treating the amps and the reverb tanks there. And Eddie was not really a fan of that overall, that tone. Him and Alex said later on that it didn't make them sound as heavy as what they actually were. But yet that's the sound that everybody has been trying to duplicate for the longest time. But you got a couple good tones here from both eras that sounded really good.
Yeah, I don't use the Van Halen 1 tone much. Eddie sounds completely different now. His tone is, with the 5153s, they have as much gain as you would ever possibly want.
Yeah.
And back in the late 70s, high gain amps just were not that common.
No.
So Eddie had to do everything he could to get as much gain out of his amps he had some effects, but not as much as he has today, I would say. But
that's right.
It's I just want the reverb and the delay with the phase 90 to be pretty close.
Yes, exactly. I know because the balance tone is your favorite, correct?
Yeah. That was the first audio sample, and I think I have that pretty close to what it was.
I'll share a little tip that I used to use because when I did the Van Halen tribute, there was a lot of that era of the music that we were doing, and that record was pretty much
fresh,
fresh, right? So it was very, very new, and that's what we were going for with the band I was in. But I used to use the Rocktron and Teleflex back then as my main processor. And this would work with any kind of pitch detuning. Now, what did you say you're using for your pitch detune?
The effect that's built into the RP500, it's a detune effect, and I have it on -12.
Okay, perfect. I was gonna say because that's right in the middle. Because I used to always go, I would go left channel -11 to maybe -13, the right channel positive. The opposite, whatever that would be. So +11 or +13, and just gave this super, super wide spectrum. And then you add a bit of chorus to that as well too. Just a very, very hint of it. And man, oh man, does it sound nice.
Yep, it sure does. That's my favorite. I wish he still had that tone, but his tone has always been different. It's always changing.
That's right.
Yeah.
I found for like when I noticed the biggest change in the tone, I obviously coming into the PVs, and we all love the PVs because we have them.
Mm-hmm.
You have some of the cabinets, and you have the head there as well too. I had both versions of the 5150, the 5152, and I had the heads and combos, all different various versions of it. But I noticed his tone changed the most dramatically there. And it almost sounded like I would describe it at the time. It's not a bad tone by any means, but it's almost sounded like a wah pedal kind of cocked down a little tiny bit. That it had a nasal tone. Do you agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
A little bit. And Satriani had that too when he went to PV. With his JSX, it was just a bit of a nasal tone. So I'm not sure where the frequencies were with that thing, but it was a bit nasally, and it's kind of opened up a lot more now that he's gone to his own brand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it has. It's these amps and these guitars are some of the best out there, especially if you want something high gain.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of metal players out there that play on 5153s because they have just a crazy amount of gain on
They
them.
can do it. That's right.
Yeah.
It's funny. My 100-watt head back there, you can just barely see it over my head here. I don't even know if that thing still works anymore. I haven't even turned it on. I should turn it on to see if it works, to see if I have a pulse and we'll be good. But ever since that lunchbox came in, I haven't even changed the channels on it. The foot switch isn't even plugged in to change channels. I just use the MXR 5150 overdrive in the clean channel, and it's to die for.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, they're great. They're great, and it's crazy just how much gain that lunchbox head has.
I know, it's stupid.
It'll compete with anything out there that's 100 watts that they say has a lot of gain, but
oh yeah, for sure. I learned something about that amp today for the first time. I mean, I've had the amp here for a couple months, I guess, something like that. And Peter Gusmano, our friend, their mutual friend there, he sent me a message on Facebook today, and he says, "Hey, are you at home and are you in front of the lunchbox?" I'm like, "Yes and yes," because this is my office where I work too, right? And he says, "Take a picture of the bottom of the amp for me," and I'm like, "Okay." So I took it off. I had to take out the cable and stuff so I could flip it over on the floor. And there's a schematic chart on the bottom for the tubes and everything. I didn't even know that. I did the unboxing and everything, but I never looked at the bottom. I never thought there'd be a need to. So I guess if people need to know that, I learned something today. It tells you what tube is which spot, whatever. So, if you don't know a lot about tubes and you need to replace one, it tells you this is what you need. Here's the EL34. Here's, blah, blah, blah. So it's kind of a cool find. So I took the picture, sent it to him, and I learned something new. I said, hey, it's the first time I saw that.
Nice.
Yeah. So I guess now when I have to do unboxings, I have to flip the amp upside down and make sure I'm not missing anything.
Anybody that's curious, this is
keeping us guessing. That's right, keeping us guessing. I'm gonna go back a little bit in the chat here for a second, then we'll hop over and we'll take a look at that video of Eddie playing too. Let me see here. So a lot of people are saying they love your guitar playing, for sure. Judy Ape says the kill switch looks cool. I want to get some for my guitars now. Yeah, and you and I each have the same kind, the light up one. I really like it. And it's funny, every time little Eric comes and grabs my guitar, like I play it, and I hardly ever use the light switch on mine, just because I don't know why, I'm lazy, I guess, right? And
it's just a little switch. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Where is it at? I got it back. There it is.
Little Eric, when he plays mine, even playing on the couch, he has to turn the light on, just because he has to, right? I'm like, it's not a night light. You don't have to have a night light on there, but it's cool. So Carlo Santin says, awesome playing in tones, Jarrod. Adam says, I bought an Eventide and love the chorus detune. Yeah, for sure. They're very, very good. Adam says it fattens up the tone in a very big way. Bruce is saying, sup, Jaden? I must have missed Jaden. Is it Jaden James? Yes, Jaden James is saying, hey, everyone. I almost missed him. I don't want to do that. Love the tone out of the standard. We are lucky these days. Tone chasing. Yeah, we're lucky because these guitars we can get are very, very affordable. And that reminds me, I was going to say this earlier. Did you see when I did the unboxing of the one I'm giving away, the blue one?
Yeah.
That neck, Jarrod, I really wish you could experience a neck, because you're talking about yours, like, there's no real gloss or nothing like that. I really wish I could take the neck off that guitar and put it on my purple standard.
They really are all different.
They are, every single one.
It's weird. Like I was saying with my 3-tone Cherry Burst, that neck is different. Like the wood that was used on it, it's like super dull. It's really dry feeling. But I just really like it.
Yeah.
But it's a different neck than my other ones.
Yeah, well, this one is truly a special one as well too. I took it out of the box and just touching the back of the neck, it almost felt like it'd been talcum powdered or baby powdered almost. You know what I mean?
Nice.
And then little Eric, when he touched it too, he's like, "Oh my goodness, this is really awesome." And I'm thinking about, I haven't done this yet, but I do a lot of lemon oil on my necks, for my maple necks anyways. That's what I treat them. A lot of people say they don't recommend that, and everyone has their different opinions. I'm not saying to do it. I'm just saying it works really, really well for me, especially on the PVs. The PVs have the really beautiful bird's eyes, and it'll just pop that bird's eye out. But the purple standard, I haven't done that yet, and I'm going to give it a good treatment of some lemon oil and just see what that does to the neck. Give it a good buffing as well too. It'll probably bring some little bit of luster to it. Let me see. Greg Walker says, yeah, he likes the tone of the standards. Nick Selig is joining us. Insomniac Matt says, I'm stuck with a PV Valve King from like 10 years ago. Hey, as long as you got an amp, it's all good. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. Pop in a 5150 overdrive or something like that in there as well too. You know a pedal I want to try? I'm trying to get one in the very near future here. It was actually Eric Sands from Positive Grid that told me about it. The Mad Professor 1. Have you heard about that pedal? Okay. When you get off the show here tonight, look it up, and you can thank me later. I'm pretty sure Al Estrada did a demo on it. I'm almost positive he did. But it's called the One. It has the brown sound and it has reverb in it, distortion and reverb in one pedal. And I can't wait to try that one. But look that up.
Nice.
Totally cool. There's a bunch of good pedals out there for the brown sound. Really, really good. Brick Breaker got his Wolfgang Standard at Pro Audio Star for $250. That's crazy, man.
I got my 3-tone Cherry Burst Wolfgang was from Pro Audio Star, and it's a B stock unit, and for the life of me, I can't find a single blemish on that guitar.
Yeah, you were telling me about that before. You couldn't find anything wrong with that.
It was only $600, $650, something like that.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, sometimes the blemishes, there's just got to be some minor imperfection somewhere, maybe like in a neck pocket or something. You know,
I have no idea.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. Yep, be fortunate on that one. Irons Z18 says that Lunchbox heading to 412 with everything at noon on the Blue Channel is beyond insane. Still cleans up great and has more than enough gain and clarity for all the AVH stuff. I agree. I run the Lunchbox through the 412, and there's this gain and punch like no tomorrow. To be honest with you, I don't think I'll be firing up the 100 watt that much. I'm certainly not going to get rid of it. I love these things. I keep them for the rest of my life, but I have no real need to play that. If I was out playing a real big gig with a band, whatever, then I might reinvestigate that. But I'd still like the tone better on the Lunchbox anyway. So.
Yep, it sounds killer.
Yeah, they're great. And you know what I'm going to do? What I need to do, because I see you got the Lunchbox on right now too. I have to show some love to the original LBX1, because I haven't played that one in a while, and I almost forget what that one sounds like. So I think this week or weekend I'll fire that up and get the love back for that one as well too.
I haven't played the LBX2 yet. I'm sure they have one at a Guitar Center somewhere around here, but I'll probably buy one of these days. But the LBX1, I have it on the Blue Channel right now with the gain at about 12 o'clock, and
that's great.
And just completely dry, just to add the color, the dry color to the two 412s that are run by the Stealth Head, and the Stealth Head is on the red channel at about 1:30, 2 o'clock. Then the gain's up pretty high, but it still is super clean sounding. It's not super distorted or lots of feedback, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it works. Those amps work really well with the Wolfgang pickups as well too. They kind of go hand in hand with one another. You can feed that pickup into a really high gain and still sound some definition to it. Whereas you take, let's say, I see more Duncan or maybe something a little bit less output, you're running to the high gain, it could be a little bit of mud there as well. Yeah, so yeah, they work nice together. They play nice. That's the word I was looking for. They play nice together.
And anybody that I see it happen online all the time. People talk about getting a really bad hum or a hiss with 5150s or a high gain amp, and I don't really get that. When you have the effects loop on, it really helps rather than just running everything through the front. Because I have the volume up right now on the guitar.
It's so quiet.
And you don't hear like a
yeah.
or anything like that. It's
no, it's good.
I mean, there's just nothing.
That's right. Well, you know me for the longest time too. I've had that Boss noise suppressor, the NS2.
Mm-hmm.
I swore by it, but I don't use it anymore. And here's the funny thing: it's one of those things where it's like my security blanket. And so when I was working with Jody from Peddle Snake, Jody's mission for the past year was like, because obviously he makes a great product for guitar cabling, right? For an all-in-one cable solution. He's like, our cable is good. You don't need to have a noise suppressor with the cable. And I'm like, yeah, but Jody, I have to. I'm playing a 5150. I have to have this noise suppression. And it was just a bit of hiss, not like hums or anything like that was coming through the amp, but a bit of hiss from the gain. And, if you get any, odd voltage things, there might be some hum that way too. He goes, well, by the end of the year, we're going to have you not using that pedal anymore. So working with those guys and Rick at Idea Bench and Strymon for the power supply, my rig is so quiet now that I'm finding every once in a while I'm going over and I'm stepping on the noise suppressor, and it's almost like when you're used to taking an aspirin for a headache every day. The next day you wake up, you don't have a headache, but you think, I better take an aspirin. It's like, wait a minute, I don't have a headache. Well, I'm doing that with my noise suppressor. I'm stepping on it, thinking I need it, and I don't. So I'm going to be pulling it off the board. I don't need it anymore. You just get your signal clean, and that's a good thing to do too. Whether you have 2 pedals on your board or 12, go through, take a day sometime when you're doing some house cleaning, whatever, and just go through, and there's going to be something that's giving you the problem. Just isolate it, and then try to determine when you get to that one that's giving you trouble. Okay, are you using it on batteries? Are you using a power supply? Are you sharing the power with everything? There's so many variables you can get to isolate that problem. Once you get a quiet rig, then the inspiration and the fun happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you're going to have 3, 4, 5 pedals, you need to get a board and a power supply for them.
Yes.
Because it will quiet the pedals down and really help with any excess noise that they might create. Obviously, the EVH flanger requires an 18 volt, but a lot of the power supplies have 2 18 volt outputs to them, so you can run any pedal that you want. And it really does help. And if you do gig and tour, like my pedal board, I could pick it up right now. Everything's Velcroed to it, and throw it in a bag, and then take it out and just plug everything in, and then it's there ready to go.
That's perfect. Another tip I recommend too, and you'd probably agree with this, when Jody was working with me with Pedal Snake, trying to isolate problems and things like that. For the longest time I was using one of his power supplies, which is still great, and I still have 2 of them. The Snake Power, it's about a 500 milliamp one, right? As opposed to your Boss type power supplies are usually around 350 milliamps. And if you want to do the math, I'm not good in math by any means. I can add a little bit. I can usually add numbers on my paycheck, stuff like that, but that's about it. Or if a customer pays me the right amount of money. But, it doesn't take long to eat up 350 milliamps. Like a distortion pedal, any type of thing like that, a fuzz pedal is not going to take too much, but your modulation effects are going to consume a lot more, delays, choruses, things like that. So what I said to Jody, I said, let's do 2 power supplies. And we did one 9 volt for the pedals that went to the loop. They were on their own power system. Anything that went to the front of the amp was on its second own power system. That way everything's isolated, and there's no sharing between front and loop. And that really brought up a big improvement as well. And I've gone from that since. Now working with Strymon, I'm using the smaller version that they have, the OJ, or Ojai. I keep calling it OJ. It's called Ojai. It's a smaller one, but they make the Zuma as well too, which is a bigger one, about that big. And it's 24 volt going to the power supply through the Pedal Snake, and then you can run it out 9 volt or 18 volt, whichever you need. Everything's isolated and regulated, and it's the cleanest possible power you can have. I just love it.
Nice.
Yeah, it makes a huge improvement for sure. Craig was talking about the kill switch. He says he plugs his in and the LED kill switch comes on. I remember Rob at Tessie. Is yours a Tessie or is yours from Adam?
Mine's from Adam.
Yeah, so is mine too.
Yeah.
But Rob was telling me from Tessie that he's got some too that you just plug in the guitar cord and then the light instantly comes on. Mm-hmm. That's cool. Let me see. I just scrolled past a comment from Adam. He says, I played Ernie Balls before, but I bought one and they were all different. Not one was the same. And that's a true testament with any guitar. I worked at a Fender dealer. One of the places I worked at was a Fender and PV dealer. And, we get our Fender shipment in and there'd be like 6, 7 Strats. Okay, let's take the Strats out of the boxes. Let's look them. Okay, which one needs to be set up? And you pick one up. All of a sudden, whoa, this one's awesome. And and they're the same model, just a different color. And you can tell right away. Usually you always find the best guitar when you're not looking for one, because when you're looking for one, nope, don't like it. And when you're not looking for something, so it falls in your lap.
But the struggle is when you go to a place like Guitar Center, and I'm so picky since I'm so spoiled here that, I've got to find a guitar that is set up, with the action's not an inch off the fretboard.
I know.
So I'll pick something that, that does not have a Floyd on it, because at least it's going to be set up, because anything that has a Floyd it's just not right. It's just not correct.
I've been to a few stores, and I was so embarrassed. I saw a couple EVH guitars that weren't set up. You could tell they come out of the, and usually, I don't know what they've done, because usually they come out of the box and they're fine. So I think some of these music stores are like, throwing them in the back of a truck and, whatever. And it was very, very bad. I felt like talking to the store manager or owner and say, don't you have a setup guy? You know what I mean? It shouldn't be on the floor like that. Never.
It would never stop me from buying.
No, because we know how to do it.
Yeah, and I would spend the time and I'd set it up myself, but.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Cat Dumpling says boiled linseed oil really makes grain pop and won't really change the feel of the raw neck unless you put on tons of coats. I do 2 or 3 coats and it adds a nice light amber tint. Very, very cool. And actually, that's probably when I did the lemon oil, I did that heavily on my Black USA PV. And that, if you look at that thing now, it's almost a rosewood look to it. It's so dark. It's just a combination of sweat plus all the oils and stuff like that. It's quite dark. Vinny Romano's joining, says hello. I saw him online. He's trying to get some decals for his 5150, so he's looking for that. So that's pretty cool. Hope you find them, Vinny. Carlo Santin says he has a 5150 pedal and it's amazing, but another good one is a Tone Bone Hot British Distortion pedal. Lots of tones in it and gets you in the VH ballpark easily. Nice. Another one that I wasn't really familiar with for the old brown sound. Insomniac Max says, one thing I will say about my PV Valve King, at least it's a strong mid-range presence. And you know what? That's my middle name, mid-range. I love mids. Like, do you crank your mids in the lunchbox?
My lunchbox, the mids are about 11 o'clock, I would say.
Okay, so under half. Mine are on 10.
Some people have the mids like at 9 o'clock, and you got to have some mids, you know.
Yeah, I'm extreme on that one. No, I fully. Mine's maxed. And same thing on the 5150 overdrive, mids full. I just want to turn it full and take the knob right off of it. So it can never be touched by human hands again. Let me see here. So Vinny's saying hi to you, saying hi Jarrod Frost, and he's saying hi to Poison Ivy. He's a great guy. And Iron T says that hum or hiss is more the product of the environment you're in, how much gain, more than how much gain or how loud you are. It's all about controlling the craziness with the volume knob. True, and there's other factors too that can play in that. I had a guy that emailed me or messaged me through the website or through Facebook or something the other day and was getting some popping, changing channels and stuff like that too. And we isolated it down to some dirty wiring in the house. He just changed another outlet, got another outlet on a different circuit. Everything was fine, and he was thrilled because now his problem was gone. But a good clean power is very, very good. Craig says you need a stereo jack. I'm assuming that's for the kill switch. And Adam's saying power conditioner and isolated supply. Yeah, I'm using both. I'm using a Furman power conditioner at the back, and then I've got the Strymon power supply. So you put those two things together, and you've got things that play nice together. Faraz is joining. Says, hey guys, how's it going? And he says, what did I miss out? Not too much. We're just going over some of Jarrod's rig. And if you can watch the video back, he's showing us a little bit of his balance tone and some of the early Van Halen tones as well, too. Jay Humphrey says, my Mexican specials are so consistent. Love them. Yeah, they're very good guitars. They don't need a lot of work and just a tiny bit of TLC. And I always say that from Food-Tone, just a little tiny bit, maybe the block. And if you want to go crazy on it, that's to your liking as well, too. But that little bit makes a big difference.
Yep, absolutely. Adam Reaver sells a fantastic product. Just everything that he offers for any guitar that you might have. Everything from his pickup mounting.
A PMS system.
Yeah, the PMS system that he has, and I mean it's just cool. I mean it's hot rodding your guitar, but he has a great product, and it's one of my favorite discoveries the last couple of years as a guitar player is being able have that little bit of extra fun.
I had this experience just a week or two back, and I had my buddy Rob Ashby over. He's an old high school buddy, and I'm not sure if you saw that episode, but I had a real nice Les Paul copy. It was from a company I used to endorse years ago. They sent me that guitar, and they sent me a double neck, a 6-string and a 12-string, which was pretty cool.
Sweet.
And I had sold them the Les Paul. I just wasn't playing it anymore. Like, I didn't really use it. I'm not much of a Les Paul type player, even though, I mean, arguably saying a Wolfgang is like a Les Paul a little bit. But just wasn't, the body shape wasn't for me, right? So I sold it to him, and he come over to hang out for the day, and he brought the guitar back so I could see it. That's been about the first time in 8 years, and so I was telling him about the Futone stuff. Now, obviously, he doesn't have any trem guitars that I know of, so he wouldn't be a real customer yet of Futone. But I said, "Watch, I'll show you how easy it is to do." And we upgraded the Stripe series, and I did the full package. I did the stainless steel everything, the titanium inserts, the big block, the noiseless springs, the whole package. And I wrote, and when I was done this, first of all, I set it up and I let him play it, and I got to stand in front of him while he's playing it. So I could get in front of the guitar, because we don't get to do that very often as guitar players, right? We don't get to be in front of our guitars. And I'm like, holy cow, this is acoustic on the couch. The guitar was really, really resonating. I'm like, okay, let's go in the office and try it. And I'm really glad he said this on camera, because he would have decided people would think it's just a sales pitch from me. But I plugged it in, and then I just started laughing. You know, it's like, and I've been down this road so many times with Futone stuff, and I wrote Adam a review that was probably about 2 pages long. It was like a kind of a testimonial, and said, you know, this isn't my first Futone rodeo. You know, I've been to the rodeo quite a few times with Futone, and you'd think that the novelty would have worn off by now. They've been down that road and done it. It hit me so much that I had to write this review. The guitar resonated from the nut to the bridge to the block, and I had to take the Floyd off completely, and I had to take the bridge posts off, because with the way that block fit in there, I couldn't get the Floyd to sit back in unless I took the bridge posts off. And you know, I'm not the best at getting the action right, like on the first try, so I just put it back in by guess as far as height. And I got the action so darn good. It was like one of those things where my buddy's looking at me like I'm a pro. Meanwhile, I just pulled a rabbit, you know what I mean? A rabbit or horseshoe, whatever, right? And this thing played so damn nice. It was the biggest experience I've ever had with Futone products since day one. And we've done this a million times.
Right, and watch the videos on setting up the D-Tuna.
Yes.
Setting your action. All of it is really, really informative, and I always loved the D-Tuna, but before I watched that video, like I'd pull the D-Tuna out, and then I would have to adjust the screw a little bit because it was out of tune. Yeah. But when it's set up perfectly the way it should, you pull that D-Tuna out, and it's perfect every single time.
Yeah, and Adam's done some recent videos too, kind of upgrading his old videos. You know, so we've been doing a bunch lately, which are really, really good, very helpful. Close-ups, the whole works. Let me see who else we're missing here as well too. Let me see here. Wampler Pinnacle version 1 is supposed to be just the Brown sound. Version 2 is everything else. But okay, that's very cool. Yeah, I've heard some people talking about the Pinnacle as well. Let me see here. And yeah, here's an example of someone not setting up the guitars good. Scully's Woodshed says played a Wolfgang Special at Guitar Center, and the fret overhang was crazy bad. You could have used it for a saw. Maybe, yeah, you never know. Could have got past the QC in the factory, or it could have also been, you know, drying and shipping and climatizing changes and things like that. You never know. Craig says, by the way, hello, Jarrod. And here's a good question. Faraz says, guys, what's your take on the buffer pedals? Buffer in the beginning of the signal chain. Mine, in my opinion, is second last in the chain. In mine, just where I particularly like it. How about you?
Mine is the first thing that my guitar plugs into. It's on all the time. I can't turn it off unless I unplug it.
Right.
I haven't really noticed a difference between it being last in my pedal chain versus first. Yeah. I guess I haven't really played it at like a crazy loud volume, but just for what I play in my apartment, I really can't tell a difference. But having it in there, I have noticed a difference. Just having it in the pedal chain.
Exactly. That's like me with the EP booster. I've tried it in the loop. I tried it in front and different positions in the front, and I found that I like it the best in the loop, and it's a significant change. But I mean, I keep it on 0 gain, like so there's no volume, but there is a boost. I think even nominal gain at 0 is a couple dB, but it adds a lot of warmth to it too. You should hear what that sounds like in the loop of the Lunchbox. Totally amazing, and it's an always-on pedal too. It never gets shut off. The only time it's off if I turn on the rig, and then I step on it, turn it on, and it remains on until I'm done playing. So that's what I mean by always on there. And Insomniac Matt says, I may be a little bit overconfident with the mids in my amp because I have it set at 2 at 9 o'clock. Hey, do you know what? It doesn't matter. Whatever you like is what works for you. That's your tone. That's your signature. And I can't take credit for cranking up the mids myself. I've said this many times on the show. It was my old sound man and a buddy of mine who was a guitar player, one of my first guitar players in my bands years ago, became a very, very good sound man. He went on the road as a tech for a lot of the stars. And I was playing a gig one time, and he come up. He was mad. He was trying to give me some signals, like telling me to do something, right? It looked like an air traffic controller going like this. I'm like, what am I too loud? Whatever. And he goes, oh. He comes up and takes my mids and goes, because I had them like scooped like dime bag, like basically they're back at around 7 o'clock, basically not even turned on. And he just went, and that was on my 5150 PVs back in the day. So ever since that day, I started to hear when I would record myself, I was like, oh yeah, now I know what he was talking about. Mm-hmm. Just cuts through the mix, right? But it's not for everybody. Let me see here. Cat Dumpling says applying a coat or two of the boiled linseed before a clear finish goes on is a very common woodworker trick to make a grain pop without making it look like it's been stained or dyed. I did not know that. That's cool. Make it jump out at you, then the clear coating, and then it preserves it, right? That's neat. Brick Breaker says Guitar Center in Rockford has all its electrics hanging next to the front door, so there's no humidity control and fret sprout. Yeah, I talked about a guitar I had years ago. I regretted getting rid of it. Was the Steve Vai Gem 77 guitar. Mm-hmm. I had the original one. It was brand new, and I got that from, it was called Guitar Works in Windsor. They're long gone now, as far as I know. And at the time, it wasn't a climate-controlled store. So, and here in Canada, our winters get very cold, right? So, in the middle of the night, they turn off the heat, and it's freezing temperature, just enough temperature so the pipes don't freeze. Then the next morning, you come in, turn it up to 80 degrees. So you can imagine that constant, temperature change on these guitars. And when I bought the guitar, I got a good deal on it. I didn't really realize. I think I might have paid about $1,500 or something for it at the time, a couple $1,000 guitar. And the fingerboard was separating from the neck so bad you could almost stick a thin guitar pick between it. So yeah, that's bad. So I got rid of it, and I regretted getting rid of it. But if I had it today, I could probably take it to a good luthier and have them, repair that. I really miss that guitar. I know I'm gonna be really missing the guitars soon when Thomas McRaughlin's coming on the show soon. Little Stevie Vai, right? And he's gonna be showing a lot of his, signature gems and all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna really regret missing that guitar, getting rid of that guitar when I see those. He's got some nice ones.
That's another guitar I've thought about getting. Is one of, because he has his Indonesian made gems, and then he has his his high dollar ones, and I've thought about just getting one of the Indonesian made ones.
What do they run at retail?
They're like $800.
Oh, that's decent.
Yeah,
I could live with that.
Yeah.
If it's made like these guitars are made, we've seen great success with these. I'm sure we'd probably be safe.
Yeah, I'm sure they're great guitars.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up. I didn't know they made Indonesian ones in that line. Very cool. That's a good tip. Learned something new. I guess we could easily bash the Guitar Center store. We should be careful here. There's a few other comments over as well too.
No, don't get me wrong. I love Guitar Center.
Yeah.
You can go in there and play on whatever you want. It's just be careful with the Floyd guitars because they're just not set up.
That's right. That's right. That's true. And Adam says, I used to scoop my mids until I stood back and listened. Yeah, once you get out, that's where a lot of times too, if you're a band playing in the bars, if you're not playing with a wireless, whatever, a lot of guys aren't using wireless. If you got another buddy, whatever, have them do it, sound check your guitar for you. I know he or she's going to play a little different than you, but get in front of your amp out in front on the floor and get to hear it, and you're going to notice some real differences once you get out there, and mids will really improve that. Rocamp56 joining, saying, hey, everyone. Sinner's in here. He says, I just scrolled too fast. Scoop mids sound good in the bedroom, but then you try to play with the others and you get lost in the mix. That's a perfect example. Yeah, when you're playing like at home, scooping them back, you get that real big sound. However, and it sounds thinner when you're cranking your mids, but it cuts through the mix a lot nicer. Let me see here. Steve Anderson, hey, Bruce, man. Let me see here. Insomniac Matt, it says, my first guitar was a Japanese made knockoff that was made out of plywood. I've talked about my first one on the show a few times. My second guitar, my first one was like a yard sale special that my parents had got me, and it was junk. I mean, it was junk. Plywood would be too good for it. But the second one was, I think it was a Canadian company, and I want to try to investigate them to see if I can still find it, because I'd like to buy it again. Or find a used one. It was called Profile. And it was the closest, it should be a lawsuit Stratocaster, because it was an exact duplicate of the Fender Stratocaster, to the headstock, to everything. Now, cheap pickups and stuff like that, probably a plywood body, but I mean, it was painted nice, so you didn't really know. I'd really like to find that guitar again. That'd be cool. Used somewhere on eBay or something like that.
Absolutely.
And Steve Anderson says 16 sleeps until June, and the EVH Stripe Series 5150 guitar is still pacing. That's going to be very nice.
Yeah, I'll get one of those for sure.
Yeah, I'm getting one this year too. I'm really looking forward to it. I can see the other guitars getting a little jealous when that one comes home.
Oh yeah.
I mean, playing it at NAMM was one of these things where it was okay. How can I sneak this one out of here? I didn't have a big enough carry bag to sneak that one, so it was pretty nice. I just have to tell the guys at EVH, okay, I'm gonna have to do another couple hundred videos for you. So you know what I mean? Okay, let's get the credit rolling. And Craig, I saw the one he built. He built a Kramer 5150 Stealth version guitar. Do you see that? Like the grayscale?
That's really, really cool looking.
I like that. I like that a lot.
That's a one of a kind right there.
And he sent me an audio sample. You've probably heard it. He's probably shared it with a lot of our friends. But he had the total circles, kind of the Unchained, kind of that tone from that era. It was really nice.
I used to watch Craig's videos a long time ago on YouTube.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, he kicked a lot of ass on there. He really, really good Van Halen tutorial videos on his YouTube channel.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's getting back into it a lot now too, which is really nice to see. So that's awesome. Cat Dumpling says Indonesia has really stepped up their manufacturing quality over the past several years. I have a Squire Jazz Master, had tons of fun, sounds great. Paid $275 brand new. That's crazy. That's great. And Jamie Huntress says, sold my 22-year-old Gem 7 and bought 3 Wolfgang specials with the money. No regrets. You know what?
Nice.
And that's good. That's something you could live with. You trade a guitar, basically sell a guitar for 3 really good guitars as well too. That's something you're not going to regret. Yeah, now, I've gone the other way before too. Back in my day, I've gotten rid of a couple guitars, maybe a few guitars for a guitar, and it wasn't like I'm trading like in 3 guitars for a Les Paul or something. I just got taken to the cleaners. Yeah, will you take these $3,000 guitars for this $400 guitar? Yes, sure, we'll take a straight trade. And they're like, you got him, like this, right? So then they profited off that one big time. I go home, don't like the guitar, and I'm out 3 guitars. So that's a bummer.
I traded a guitar. I can't even remember which one it was. It was a long time ago for my 212 cab.
Okay.
And I was at Guitar Center. I was like, I want this 212 cab. I have this guitar, and they're like, okay, we'll trade. That was it.
If it works out, there you go. It works out in your favor. If it's what you want, it's not really a loss.
Yeah.
Right? It's what you want. And the music stores love it. They can make a couple bucks on it, and then they'll treat you nice the next time, or they'll rip you off even more the next time, however you look at it.
Yep.
But so yeah, we're gonna jump over to this Eddie Van Halen thing here, and then we'll jump off the show here. So just a short one tonight. But I mean, everybody pretty much lost their mind today. People kind of, whenever anything from the Van Halen camp gets posted, they obviously get their hopes up, like we all do, like myself included, yourself too. And we kind of get into our deciphering modes and what's it mean. And Sammy Hagar makes a tweet. Is he getting back with Van Halen? Things like that. Well, Eddie Van Halen was making some noise today, obviously showing off his new signature Wolfgangs. Mm-hmm. But that was pretty awesome to see, wasn't it?
Yeah, I saw that on Instagram. Charlie Stinchcomb posted it on his Instagram, and I watched it. I'm assuming that was probably recorded like today or maybe yesterday or something like that. But I missed the paper on the wall, which had the set list. I missed that, which it gets you guessing what's going on for 2018.
That's right. I'm hoping so. I'm going to flip over to the video for a second. You won't be able to see it on your screen. The visitors or the viewers in the chat will be able to say, hey, Craig Reynolds is joining us as well too. Hey, Craig.
Sweet.
I think I've got the volume turned down a little bit because Eddie was playing it was just insane loud in that room. It was
you could tell because it was distorting.
Yeah, so it was overpowering the mics. Yeah, it was probably insane. I'll just flip over to it. It'll loop for a second. All he's doing is he's doing the horse and the elephant kind of sound, but you're seeing him playing both of the new signature Wolfgangs. I'll see if I can cue this up. One sec. So there he's playing the white one, and there he's playing the black stealth. Play again a couple times. So there you have it. That was pretty awesome. You'll be able to see that back when you watch it back, Jared. I queued it up there, but very, very cool to see him playing that and looking good, healthy, smiling. To me, it only means one thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's in their blood. You know it is, and I'm a big Sammy fan, obviously, with loving the balanced tone and everything. But I mean, these guys, Eddie's 62, 63. And Sammy is almost 70. These guys have music in their blood, and I know with Van Halen it's not about the money. That these guys don't need the money, but they will do it for the fans. And I do believe that in the next year or two there will be a tour with Sammy or with Dave or with both, whatever they have in the works. It will happen.
Now, are you from the mindset that you don't care either or, if it's either Sam or Dave or both, that you'd still be there?
Oh, I'll still be there.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to see Eddie. I want to see Eddie play. I like seeing him, sober, happy. I mean, yeah, I'm there for Eddie. Yeah, but me too. I love both renditions of Van Halen. I love Sammy's songs and I love Dave's songs.
Yeah, and it'd be very cool if Mike's back in the fold.
Absolutely, Mike's on board. They're all on board. It's just a question of working out that the logistics. The logistics of the contract of all of it. But I mean, yeah, they're all on board. They can work past it.
It's not like these other bands that are out there. Were like your Led Zeppelins. I know obviously they're doing some things together again too. But some of those bands were like never. So that obstacle's not there on the table. You got some participants that are willing. Now let's talk money. Let's talk logistics. Let's talk scheduled touring. Because Sammy's got his thing going on with the solo bands, Chicken Foot, things like that as well too. Obviously, I know he'd put that on hold in a millisecond to be back in Van Halen. But it's not just as simple as saying, yeah, we're going to do it. There's a lot of logistics to work it out.
Right, and they're going to probably have a couple of months if it becomes reality. They'll have a couple of months where they're rehearsing, and then they'll go through set lists and all this kind of stuff, figure out all the tour dates and everything that comes from planning a tour. But I mean, I saw Guns N' Roses last year. Who the hell would have thought that Guns N' Roses would have gotten back together?
I didn't think
nobody would have thought of it in a million years.
Yeah, because they hated each other, and
they had similar situations like what happened with Van Halen and Slash and Axl. They fought and they worked it out, and they're still touring.
That's right. Yeah, doing very, very well, very successful.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I forget who was saying it. I think it was MB215 says he would go to a show with no vocals, or if they did a show with no vocals, he would go. And same thing, I'd go watch Eddie play, instrumentals. I would do it for sure.
Oh, I absolutely would. I would love to just be in 5150 Studios and just stand there like Mark Tremonti was talking about the other day. Just stand there and just watch Eddie play, in his element. Like, he doesn't have to play Van Halen. I just want to see him. Like, what does he do when he picks up a guitar for the first time?
His approach.
Like early in the morning. Like, does he crank up his rig, or does he plug into a 5153 combo amp, or what does he do to warm up and practice the things he goes through to I want to know.
I know. You know, something I thought was really funny in that interview I did with Mark Tremonti is obviously hearing that story was great, and that we had some really good Van Halen moments, which I was very, very thankful for. But he was saying how, you know, he would say to Wolfgang after, "Oh, that was really good, Wolf. That was really good. Oh, that," and blah blah blah. There's different things. And Eddie actually went over to him one time and said, "Well, what about my parts?"
What about my parts?
Isn't that funny? Like Mark was just more comfortable talking to Wolfgang because that's his buddy. Of course, he becomes friends with Eddie too. But you know, Wolf is the one who brought him there. You know, that would be real. And I mean, you'd think he'd show more interest in Eddie too because he's a guitar player. So I found that was pretty cute just to hear that story. That's awesome. Let me see here. I missed something. So MB saw Guns N' Roses last year. Better than I expected, especially Axl. Yeah, I didn't get to see him on that tour. I would love to. And if it's still going, maybe there would be a chance. And Steve Anderson says, go on YouTube, a couple 1988 OE when 2 shows appeared last week. Yeah, I heard that there was an 88 show that just surfaced. Have you seen that one? Okay, I'm going to look that up because I saw them on the Monsters of Rock tour, Pontiac Silverdome. That was pretty cool. That was Van Halen, Scorpions, Dokken, Kingdom Come, and who am I missing? Metallica? Yeah. So that was a big bill. Sound kind of sucked because it's Pontiac Silverdome, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? But it was a good concert. I think they did for one of the covers. They did Superstition. And what was the other one they did? Rock and Roll, obviously. But Superstition was really, really good. I enjoyed that one. Let me see here. What else have I missed? And so Cat Dumplings, I guess he's just seeing Craig's 5150 for the first time. I really like the personalized takes on Eddie's guitars, and that one is really cool. Yeah, I like that too. It's a very, very unique, basically the black and white version of the 5150. You know, if you rip all color out of it, that's exactly what it is.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Well, listen, I'm gonna jump off here. We're gonna end the broadcast here. It's 9:00 Eastern Standard Time. This isn't really even a regular time for me to do this, but I want to, seeing your videos and your posts and all the pictures, it's nice to put some noise to some pictures. Make some music. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I hope I'll listen to it when we hang up. But the sound quality was pretty good, and everybody enjoyed the samples of the balanced tone and more of a classic Van Halen tone.
Yeah, you did for sure. What you'll hear will be mono, so you're not going to hear a real stereo separation, but it does sound good. Yeah. It sounds good for internet, especially, for sure. Let me see. Craig Reynolds says he saw the Monsters of Rock in Miami. That was an awesome show. It certainly was. Rocamp says, Eric, thanks for showing Eddie's clip. Saw that earlier today. No problem. I wanted to share that for sure as soon as I saw that. And let me see. And the Rhode Island show, Eddie switches from the 5150 after 316 to the Steinberger during a solo. Rare. Very cool. Good point as well, too. I don't know if I'll be back on live again until Friday. I've got a regular show again Friday. Eric Alper is joining me from Toronto. Really, really cool media guy. He's actually, we talked about Chickenfoot earlier. He was their promoter over here on the Canadian side of the, when they would do the Canadian legs. He's promoted just about everybody. He's a media relations specialist. I think he's just broke 1 million followers on Twitter. Just crazy. He's won, Billboard named him as the guys to watch on social media. All kinds of really cool stuff like that too. Rolling Stone as well said the same about him. It's going to be really fun. We're going to be talking about the music industry because he was the head of E1 Entertainment was the media group he was at. They do movies, audio, video, everything, theater stuff. And he was the head of their label acquisitions department there, and he's gone on to do his own thing. So he knows a lot about the music industry and how the record industry has changed from what it was with Van Halen, breaking out to where we are now, where it's very rare to get vinyl anymore. Where do you go buy it? So there's going to be a lot of good industry talk. And there'll be a little bit of Van Halen talk as well, too. But his specialty is talking about the record industry, and I think it's going to be a fun discussion, too. So try to catch that one. So everybody, if you're just joining in late, just go back and watch some of Jarrod's playing. It's about a third of the way into the program, and you get to see some of his really cool guitars and hear the audio as well. Very nice. And look at some really, really great amplifiers as well, too. And Craig says, thanks for the mention. You are very welcome. Everyone, thank you for joining. You still have time to enter into that guitar contest. Go to evhgeardiscussion.com/win. Just submit a quick video saying why you like the program here and why you'd like to win that guitar. And submit it. You have until June 7th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to be drawn randomly to win that guitar. It's a very nice guitar, and I'm going to try to get you guys a gig bag, whoever wins it, to put a nice gig bag along with that as well, too. So listen, everyone, have a great night. Jarrod, thank you so much for joining me. Hang on and I'll say goodbye to you off the air. I'm going to turn it over to the little man. He's going to tell us what his name is, what he's playing, and we will see you guys real soon. Thanks so much. Until next time, cheers.
Bye.
My name is Eric. I'm playing Wolfgang guitar.
Video video production services provided by Design 39 Media. Visit design39media.com for all your website, photography, and video production needs.